Hi guys, this is Ellery here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to install the Kodi module that actually took me quite a bit to develop for Motorola Premise. So first things first, in the video description down below there's a link to the file on my Google Drive. So I ask that you link directly to this video. If you want to share this with friends, which is fine, you can go ahead and share the video, but do not link directly to my Google Drive and bypass the video. For one, there'll be no version control if you do that, because I promise to keep the link in the description up to date. So you can see during the making of this video, we're on version 2.0. And so I envision this thing changing over time as Kodi changes or as new features get added to the Kodi's JSON RPC protocol, which is what Kodi uses for IP-based control over a network. So with that disclaimer out of the way, the other disclaimer, if you really like this module and you're a custom integrator and do this for a living and want to use this in my speech parser module I'm going to post in the next video, please get in contact with me. Don't just steal my intellectual property. Right, and I'm a pretty fair person, and you'll want, someone who's, an actual engineer and with a lot of premise experience for support anyway, so we can work something out financially there. So once you've gone and downloaded it using this button up top, we'll just jump over to Premise. So you'll go ahead and download the zip file and extract it somewhere. So I've already done all those steps. So then you just go to Modules, left click, and then right click on Modules up here. So left click over here to go to Modules. Make sure you guys saw how I navigated there. So import. And import the library, or first we'll just do that. And then navigate down to Automation Browser, Object Grid, Global Script. So this was added in a previous video, so you want to make sure you've watched videos 1 through 4 on how to set everything up. So this is just meant to be a continuation of videos 1 through 4, so it's actually the same tutorial file that we've been using. So go ahead and down under Automation Browser, Object Grid, Global Scripts, just go ahead and you can right click and export this guy, and that way you have a backup of what was there originally, or I'm just going to delete. And the reason we delete first is because we actually don't want duplicate global unique identifiers. I'll show you that in a second within Premise. So every object in Premise has a GUI ID assigned. And so if you have duplicate ones, it really makes the Premise server mad. So don't do that. Be sure to delete this guy first and then re-import the new one. This just makes the automation browser display the Kodi library a little better as far as aspect ratio of cover art and things like that. And now we're going to finally import the actual Kodi module. And think of this module like you can expand it. It has a lot of parts, right? So think of these guys as classes, right? So this Kodi up here, this main part of the module, inherits from a lot of the parts defined within Premise and a lot of the stuff down below some of these other objects. And so think of this guy as a class, and then now we're going to left click on Devices under the Define pane, and we're going to right click on Custom Devices, and this makes a Kodi device object for us to go ahead and bind to a PVR home object. And so think of this as an instance of the Kodi module class. So hopefully that makes sense. Or you can just think of this like in terms of object-oriented programming. If you want to Google that along with what are classes and objects, that'll have a lot better explanation, but I want to kind of keep this on track here. So once you've done that, the other thing is you can have as many Kodi boxes as you need. You can just keep creating them one by one. The only requirement is that they actually have be physically different. In other words, each one would have to have its own, IP address and port settings. And how we're going to do that. So in the first videos, I showed you how to add this Lantronix add-in. So the add-ins are up here. So we're just going to, if you don't have a UDS 10 device, which you should from the previous videos, just right click and add one of those guys. And then give it the IP address and port number for your Kodi box. And you can kind of drill down. See, right now the port's not open. So we'll go ahead up here under Serial Communication Network. So we're going to go ahead and open the port. So now we can go in Port Spy. Oh, that's from earlier. Ignore that. And now we can scroll all the way down to the bottom here. Actually do something here. So we're going to, if you select this import all, it'll import all these Kodi library types automatically. It'll give you a status up here when you do that. So we'll just click that once and there it goes. And it fetches stuff in order, right? So it'll have to fetch albums before it can populate the songs, because otherwise, the module wouldn't know where to put the songs. And that's just how I've structured it. I chose to structure it that way. Hopefully that doesn't make a lot of people mad, but and that's open later on. If I come up with a different version, we can change that. Just kind of leave a comment and feedback down below if you would. So this library class is actually pretty neat. So you can individually import different Kodi media types. And then down here you can fetch for things where the stream details didn't import. So stream details are like aspect ratio, height, width, number of channels, that sort of thing. So for things like Blu-ray ISO files and FLAC files, those won't actually import. Unfortunately, I believe MP3s will work fine though for the audio stream details. Now, I can show you that over here. Now if it's like an MKV file, those will actually see all this imported just fine in the example we're doing here. And you can see how the TV shows are structured. That was just my decision on how to structure it. I didn't want to spend months developing this thing and make it all to where you could actually pick if you wanted to go series then season or just season with more of a flatter architecture instead of this hierarchy. So unfortunately that's kind of set, and that's just to save on development time right now. So there you have it down below, and kind of play with that. And the same thing with the music videos. These all automatically imported. Channels didn't import since this Kodi box doesn't have the server WMC add-in to where it can use the home, like a Windows Media Center tuners within Kodi. So we'll go back up here to devices, back to the Kodi box. So some main things, right? We connected the port. Make sure it says open before you try to import stuff. I mean, that's self-explanatory, I hope, but I just want to make sure if there's some, folks learning for the first time. And then for this IR commands, the reason it says use JSON only is the JSON RPC protocols is IP based, right? So the IR commands are actually empty. And so how that works, when the methods within the module see some command, it'll actually try to do IR first. And if there's no IR command, it'll automatically default to, IP based commands. And that's to make the module more versatile. So actually on my other box, I have a Blinky attached to it. And then I went down here and defined a IR transmitter using something like a global cache device, and then told it which global cache IR output port I was using. And so then it can actually send IR commands, and that way I can mix and match, so I can still use like 4K Netflix from within Kodi seamlessly, because you're able to go ahead and add an Android app shortcut within Kodi, which is pretty cool. And it happens seamlessly and keeps Kodi in the background, so then you're still able to use the JSON RPC commands, except for the up and down arrows and OK didn't work. So you need the IR for those if you want to be able to use like the native Android apps, or for whatever platform you're using. You want to use native YouTube, etc. So for this box, I'll go ahead and just JSON only. But real quick before I forget though, so this NVIDIA Shield IR commands, that's also meant to be a template, so you guys can go left-click modules, Kodi classes, and you can actually copy this guy. Like say you're using a box where you rely on like a Windows Media Center remote, if you remember those. You'd go in and Google for the Prano hex codes for that remote, right? And you just paste them in here over the top of these Prano hex codes. I still think it was on the Android TV NVIDIA Shield forum off the Kodi site, actually. So I borrow those from another user who was kind enough to post those Prano codes. And you just paste them over the top, and then you can rename this guy up here, or you can hit F2 over there, rename it to whatever you want, and then he'll show up for you. And you'll be able to mix and match. And so for ones where you want to use the JSON RPC, you could just leave those as blank. Yeah, well, most of these are filled in. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think, but you can actually pick, right? Like, so you could actually go and, so here's one that's not defined as this menu. So it has no IR data. That was just left over from debugging earlier. You can just ignore that. Whereas exit does. And so menu would actually take you to the home screen in Kodi using the JSON RPC code, IP-based codes to do that. And then exit had to be IR just to get out of the Netflix app. You want to hit the back button, right? So that has to be IR, unfortunately. If you want to use the native apps, or you can leave all this stuff blank by just selecting the JSON only option. Let's see what else. And then down here you can see this display picture option. So that'll actually display like a doorbell image, and it talks about how to use it if you click on each option. And I'll show you guys in a later tutorial, if there's a lot of interest on how to actually code something. I'll do a doorbell picture example and actually show you how to do some of the scripting. But before I do those types of videos, I want to get the speech parser video out next is my goal. And then maybe do like a tasker module, get that sorted out and documented for you guys. So there'll be more videos to come, depending on if I get a lot of new subscribers for this one. So we talked about the library import. We briefly mentioned how to get like stream details. So everything should auto import if you have just files, but if you have ISO images, you'll have to play them first and then browse to whatever library. And I'll do music so you can see. So it'll automatically use the file method under JSON RPC and grab all the details. See, these are FLAC files, so that's why it's not able to actually get the number of channels and the bit rate, unfortunately. And then let's see here. And then the other neat thing is this message option. So you can actually type a message and send it, and it'll pop up on the display. It'll even overlay on the top of a Blu-ray playback or or whatnot within Kodi. So this is useful for caller ID data with something like an OBI 110 box and Google Voice. So you'd use 123's module he has posted on Cocoon Tech to do that. And then you just need to write a script to grab the caller ID text and paste them in there and click send. Or you can just access, a lot of this I try to make generic so you can access it directly using the method. So I'll show you the picture. So if you just wanted to send a message, you can use these first 3 parameters, and you can kind of see where I'm at. And then the message, same way, just the first 3. And then for the way VB script is, this order dependent. So make sure when you write your script that you put a path and then a Boolean and then some sort of integer timeout. And send message works in a similar manner. So hopefully you guys are good enough with VB script. You can just figure that out now that I've shown you the methods. And let's see here. I think that's all on this part, so we'll continue on here. So now that we've created this device object, we want to bind that to a home object. So to do that, we're just going to use this PVR under this media zone. So that was again created in a past video, so hopefully you're watching these in order. So we're going to delete our TiVo binding, and we're going to actually bind it to this new Kodi box. It'll ask this, and that's just click yes for now. The reason it's doing that is because it also creates this bindable object called anamorphic. And what that is, it's just for me, because I doubt there's that many people out there who want to have, like, you know, a projections anamorphic lens on a sled that's automated. And so it'll actually move in and out when you play, you know, files with various aspect ratios. And again, a lot of this you can just click on the property and read about it down below. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So the idea is you would bind this anamorphic Boolean property called isAnamorphic to something under the home section, and then you can go I don't have the security module installed, but let's see here. You know what, I don't have a security system on this, but we can just show you real quick generically how to do some generic binding. This is getting off the topic though, but so you could bind it with something like a security zone, right, and just tell it to hide it. And then so bound object. And then you would tell it no, because you do want to drill into it. And then you can bind them that way. And you can also look at your bindings by right-clicking on the home object and go into binding. So you can see automatically triggered and isAnamorphic were bound together. So then you just write an on-change script to do whatever. You know, I'll keep it generic. I'm not going to go into that now, but so that's how you would go about setting it up. And so let's see here, what else? Oh, the other thing you got to do under the media zone is tell Premise what input on your display that the Kodi box is connected to, right? So we'll just go with input 2. And so what that does, that way Premise can automatically, when you tell it what content you want to play, it can go iterate through these sources and find the Kodi box and go ahead and play that. Alright, so that all looks good and we have everything set up. So now we'll go check this out real quick. So this is, you know, whatever IP address your Premise server is on, you can access the automation browser by using Internet Explorer and go into it. So you can go media zone. So nothing's playing right now. So we can go under media. And you can see these guys were automatically created when you imported that Kodi media library module. And then when we clicked the import all button, it went through and iterated and grabbed all these. And this cover art doesn't show up, so it's not actually fully set up. It's just kind of I just dumped a bunch of files. I need to go ahead and set the Kodi box up properly, but you get the idea. Set the Kodi box up to do the music library, pull the data from an online database. But anyways, you get the idea. The music videos and channels was empty because I don't have the server WMC add in here. And then to get to the media, you can just go to media over here and you can see that's all the stuff that was showing up for us. And the cover art, that'll get took care of on its own. The idea is you would have the cover art locally stored and it'll display fine then. See, I think what's happening, either this fan art site is down or it's having trouble displaying it. But if you use like a local path, it should work fine for you guys. But so the media objects, they have a lot of useful information, except for, again, for FLAC files, this won't get auto-populated where the stream details will for like an MKV file. So there's the media. So we'll go ahead and do a quick demo of how to actually use the thing with the automation browser. Oh, so I'll go back to localhost. We're working on the master bedroom media zone. So if you want to access the buttons, directly, you can just click down below on the device. And we'll go ahead and pick some media real quick. So go ahead and play that video so it's actually playing right now, and hopefully you can hear it. So you actually hear it. So we're going to go ahead and stop it. It's kind of loud. Let's see here. So one thing that's neat is you see that it's actually, you don't have to worry about telling Premise the media type, for one, because it's defined by which library you're clicking on. But it also, Premise takes care of matching whatever media type you have to the available source components to play it back. And again, that's called msense. And I went over that in a previous video, so I don't want to rehash it too much. And another neat thing, I'll just kind of show you. So even if somebody, your wife or whoever grabs a keyboard and starts using your Kodi box, using it, like I'm actually using the NVIDIA Shield remote right now. So you see it says nothing's playing, but I can go in and let me pick a movie here. We'll play that same file again. So you saw it instantly came up, and I didn't actually move the mouse cursor, so there's your proof. And you can go ahead, if you pause using a keyboard or the NVIDIA Shield controller or something, trying to do it outside the home automation system, everything tracks, right? You saw this pause button turned red. So that level of automation is actually pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop here using the NVIDIA Shield remote, and there's my mouse cursor there if you need proof. So that type of two-way integration. Let me play a TV show here. So I'll play a Doctor Who episodes. So there you go. You see that? And of course I can pause it here. Or I could even jump to the next item in this season using these buttons.
Start the clock.
And in the next video, I'm going to probably be 2 videos though, to set up speech parser where you'll be able to do all this with your voice, which is that's what I do mainly. And then I have a hard button URC remotes that actually just send serial commands to my Premise server. So I don't use these, I don't really like using touch screens. I either like using my voice or feeling and being able to actually push a real physical button to do stuff. But that's just my preference. If you guys want to play around with Premise, there's also like a jQuery web-based interface that'll work on a smartphone, which is you know, a lot more, it's more updated and looks nicer than this interface from 2002. So let me show you a couple things under the media zone. So here's the content. So it's actually paused right now. So if I go ahead and hit stop with like the Shield remote again, you see everything over here. So it's no longer playing anything, and now playing is set to none. And then the little Kodi thing down below disappeared because there's no actual content being played by the Kodi device that's bound again to this input and to this home PVR object, which is again bound to this guy under devices. So another quick thing, just as a reminder, guys, if you need to write, you know, some custom code, in case you didn't watch, think it was video number 4, you could just do like an on-chain script, right? So whenever, you know, you paused Kodi, you'd want it to go ahead and do something, or maybe when you, yeah, let's do that. I'll just kind of show you. So this transport command, so this is a multi-value property. So you see that, this little symbol here. So if you wanted to know like the details on what multi-value equals what transport command, you can hold down Control and double click on that, and it'll take you here. And then do that again to get to these. This is called an enum, and so you can see play equals a value of 1. Stop. So you would have an on-chain script basically of when you paused it, right? So whenever the new value equals 8, you can go ahead and, like, I don't know, brighten the lights or something like that in the room. So there's a lot you can do with Premise. It's a pretty powerful home automation program. And with Kodi added into it, the mix, it kind of makes it a great all-in-one solution. And so just kind of show you guys. So equals, what do we say, 8 then. So if it's paused, go ahead and do that. And then say you'd have like home.master bedroom. What did I call it? Okay. Well, recessed light. So it'll go to 0.8. And then the same thing when you hit play, you can have it go down in brightness too. And then commit your code using that. So that's just for the Kodi folks. This is the first video you're watching. And there'll be more videos on how to do coding, but I just want to throw that in there for you guys. Let's see where we're at on time. Yeah, this video's getting kind of long here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. And if you guys have any questions, just post them down below, and I'll try to do another video so everyone can see the answer. And again, please, you know, absolutely do not just post a direct link on a forum somewhere just to my Google Drive. Please, you know, absolutely do post it directly to the video, and that way, like I said, I only get like 2 or 3 cents when someone watches one of these, but over a month period, I'll be able to get a free beer at the end of the month or something like that. And like I said, if you go through this module I've written, you'll see it's like an 80-hour to 100-hour type project, and I'm giving it away for free just because I want to get more people interested in home automation. For one, and I really like Kodi and want to give something back to the Kodi community. But yeah, every one of these little things, you know, I had to right click and fill in a description for. And then I had to write code for whatever event to actually have it do something. So, alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please subscribe. And if I get more subscribers, I don't have a problem to continue. Maybe add a new component each week to this sample home we've been working on. So next week I'll try to, if I get some time, I'll get the speech parser up there. If it's not next weekend, it'll be the weekend after. And that way you guys will be able to actually, you know, be able to play any of these media items just using your voice. You'll be able to pause Kodi, do all these transport commands that we were showing you in the AB or over here, so you'll be able to do all that with your voice. You could even go up and do these menu navigation commands again with your voice. So it'd be a pretty neat video in the next week or two, and I'll post my module up there too. So for the speech parser module, anyways. So again, please like the video and subscribe. Thanks, guys.